Hello everyone, I am not dead. It's been a while actually since I've recorded a video, like a week. Oh, that's too much of a gap. Anyway, so I've been really busy this week in general. Yeah, I've just gone to university. That's basically what's happened, so different background. I've done a bit of streaming this week, although I don't have a schedule for streaming yet. Again, I will fix that out probably next week. I'll do a vlog with like some channel updates and things like that next week, probably. No promises. I don't know how much time I'm going to have. But, yeah. Anyway. Welcome to a Spellweaver deck tech. Yeah. So, because I've been busy, I haven't been playing as much as I normally do. I've still been playing a decent amount, but I haven't been playing as much as I normally do. I got in probably about a third of what I normally do this week, since I've just been doing other stuff. And this is one of the decks that I worked on a lot when the last patch came out, and I worked on a bit more on stream today. However, this is still a prototype. This is not a completed product of a deck. This is a prototype, and treat it as such. Feel free to make your own edits and see what you think is better or what you think is worse, and then put it in the comment section, and I'll go over it and I'll try it out myself, and I'll get back to you on those suggestions, because this is a Keanu deck, or Keanu Reeves as a lot of people have been calling him, and building a deck for Keanu is very, very hard. Honestly, I will say this is the deck that I have spent the most time trying to get the numbers right on, and I have failed. I'm still trying. It's really difficult. One, it's meta dependent, and two, it's just difficult because his hero power affects the way you build decks way more than any other hero. So basically, this is Keanu, the Edge of the Spear. Now, his ability, Weapon Mastery, allows you, for 2 mana, to put a creature with 3 or less mana cost under Keanu, and then it comes out next turn with a Might Emblem on it. You do have to have the levels to play it, though, and that is where some of the difficulty with deck building comes in. On top of that, it does allow you to do some neat tricks, and that's some of the stuff I'm going to explain. Now, the deck tech section for this is going to be a bit longer than normal. Although something I will say, I'm going to be disconnected for inactivity at some point in this video. But, yeah, I'm going to have to spend quite a bit of time explaining some of this stuff. So, first things first, we're not going to go through each card one by one. We're going to go through the early game, the first activation, the second activation, and the third activation. And you'll see what I mean. So, first things first, we've got some early game. As far as the early game goes, it's mostly in corruption because this is a base corruption build. And you'll see why in a little bit, but this is a base corruption build. And so as a result, I'm running 4 Noxious Fumes, 4 Vermin. They just let me deal with early threats. And as a result, I have a good win rate against red because they can't deal with any of my big threats. And also, I've got Vermins and Fumes to deal with the early stuff. So, 8 removal spells. Or removal things. You need all of them. Vermin's particularly good with my 3rd activation threat in this deck, which is Cult. So yeah, the 8 there, that's good. Then I've also got Tornado Outbreak if I am going first, so I can't activate Keanu on turn 2, which is insane going second. So if I'm going first, I'll sometimes go Tornado Outbreak turn 2, tempo him out, and then on my turn, Tornado Outbreak end of turn is 2-drop, and then on my turn, turn 3, put something under, he replays his 2-drop or 3-drop, then I get my guy, and yeah, it works. 2 Tornado Outbreak, I've been thinking of running 3. As I said, the numbers are not correct yet. Feel free to comment on what you think some of the numbers should be in this particular deck. But yeah, so that's the early game. 3 Unicorn, this was 2, but there's been a lot of Wisdom Dominion running around recently, so as a result, I've got Unicorn for Helm. That's basically what Unicorn is for. It also helps with a couple other random things, but it's mostly for Helm. So, that's the early game out of the way. Now we're going to get on to what I like to call the activations. Now, the activations, the first activation, second activation, third activation, is something you'll hear about a lot when I'm talking about Keanu. Basically, the activations are what you can play on your hero powers when you can play your hero power. So basically, the way Keanu works is in 99%, well, more like 90% of situations, you want to be activating your hero power every time it's off cooldown, and on turn 3, 5, and 7. Those are the 3 most critical. 3 and 5 in particular, and then 7 is less critical and you can move around a bit. If you're going second, this is 2, 4, 6, as opposed to that because you can spark out the first hero power. And the first activation threats are 3 mana cost 2 level creatures, because you can play them on turn 2 with Spark or on turn 3 with your hero power. The first activation threats in this deck are Library Guards, because it's a 3/4 with 3 speed and draws a card. It's amazing, one of the reasons to play blue. You need a lot of card draw in this kind of deck, and it's really, really good. Then you've got Harpy, which is the best activation on first against most of the meta right now. Everything is running 1 level creatures. Red is, Nature is, Wisdom Dominion is, with Assassins. Everyone's running level 1 creatures. Harpy kills all of them. On top of that, it's a 3/4, same as Library Guards. It has flying, they can't interact with it. It's one of the best threats in the deck. Probably the best first activation threat. The last first activation threat we're using is Bedeviled Fiend. Now, Bedeviled Fiend is a 6/4 on first activation. What's crazy about it is that if you're against a control deck, I have done this, and this is how you kill control decks, by the way. You go Bedeviled Fiend on 2, or on 3. You go Bedeviled Fiend on 3. This is something I've done before, actually, is go Bedeviled Fiend on 2. They play Assassin. I will just Noxious Fumes that or something, or Tornado Outbreak it. My Bedeviled Fiend gets onto the board. Then they replay it. I can play a Harpy, kill it. They still have a 6/4 to deal with, and it beats their head in. The other thing is, if they don't have an early start, you can go Bedeviled Fiend on 3 and 4, and you have 11 attack on the board by turn 4, which is just insane. It hits so hard. Do not underestimate this thing. This is the really big, heavy hitter. The biggest hitter in the deck is arguably Sunchaser Aurite, which we'll get to, and Necromantic Cult can be, but Bedeviled Fiend is the beatstick of the deck, basically. And Bedeviled Fiend Harpy is why I'm running Base Corruption. They are the 2 of the most solid early first activation threats, along with Library Guards, basically. Nature doesn't really have any. They have Elf Commander, and Order has a couple strange ones. Pretty much every single color has something, but Corruption has 2 really powerful ones. So that's why I'm running Corruption Base. So that's all the first activation threats. Then we'll get on to second activation. Now, when you get to your first activation, you'll have 2 levels. Second activation, you'll have 2 mana and 3 levels if you sparked it, or you'll have 3 mana, 3 levels if you went first. So, second activation threats. There are technically 2, although in reality it's a second and a third. So, the main second activation threat is Sunchaser Aurite. Sunchaser Aurite is an insanely powerful card in Keanu. It is insane. You basically play it for 2 mana, and it dodges first combat. That was one of the weaknesses with Aurite. So, it dodges first combat. It's a 5/5, which is probably going to be the biggest thing on the board, and that's the playing Antriel or Red Dragon. So it's going to be a 5/5, probably the biggest thing on the board. It can reach 4 speed, and you can activate it before combat. I mean, you can activate it and then not attack, and then it keeps its 4 speed until your opponent's turn. So it can dodge 2 combats, and you can use it to attack whatever you like. And Sunchaser is insane in this deck. It's really, really good. It is basically one of the reasons why Keanu runs base green in a lot of situations, and why you need green cards and not just splashing the hero powers, because Sunchaser is amazing, Unicorn's amazing, and in my case I'm running Tornado Outbreak as well. Sunchaser is the second activation choice of choice because it's single green, so I can go green. I can go like green, black, blue, and play my Sunchaser, which is really nice. Then we'll get on to it's technically a second activation threat, but in reality it's a third. Necromantic Cult. Now, Necrocult works with Keanu in multiple ways. The first thing is that it gets a might counter for free, which means you can remove the might counter and you basically get an extra removal there. However, there's a bit of subtlety with Necrocult, and this is something which comes up with Keanu a lot, which is that you can stack mana. So, this is why it works with things like Drayla. You can put Necrocult under Keanu for 2 mana, and then when it comes out, you have 2 extra mana you would have paid on the Necrocult to activate and rejuvenate your Necrocult. So your Necrocult has 2 extra activations it can use in one turn, which is a big, big deal. On top of the fact you gain 1 extra mana on that turn, you kind of have 3 on the first turn you get it. It's really good. On top of that, it becomes a 4/4, which is actually pretty hard to interact with. You can use Noxious Fumes, deal 3 damage to something effectively, and then get another counter, just rip through his board. And it's absolutely incredible to get cults out. late game. They're really, really good. As I said, it's technically a second activation threat because it has 3 levels, 2 mana. In reality, it's a third activation because you've got double corruption and then blue, green. 4 levels sounds painful, but because you got a lot of card draw on this deck, you can actually get 4 levels later on in the game, and it works. As we'll get to the shrine count a little bit later. As I said, this is going to be a longer deck tech section. Normally I aim for about 10 minutes. I think this will probably be about 15 around. Alright, so that's the activations. On to some of the support cards. We already went over some of the early game, so next we've got Ancient Wisdom. As I said, you need a lot of card draw, because you're playing 3 colors, you need ways of getting over stumbles. If you're going second, you can actually go Library Guards into Ancient Wisdom, turn 2, turn 3, and just draw so you get your corruption color. It's really nice there. Helps in the late game to kind of top deck through to get your threats, keep your threats going steadily, because your threats will on average be bigger than theirs. So you can keep getting your threats. Yeah, some noise outside. I can't do much about that. It's a university campus. So anyway, it lets you chain your threats out, and it lets you just keep going in the late game competing with these control decks. Wisdom Dominion is still harsh, but that's because of Helm of Dominion more so, as opposed to later game. It's more they can steal your stuff than their stuff being an issue. Karthus can be an issue, though. So anyway, Ancient Wisdom keeps the threats rolling. Let me close my window. You can still hear it, but it's not that bad. Yeah, I'm recording this in the evening, so a lot of people are going out. Anyway, so I think the last 2 cards in the deck? Yeah. Alright, last 2 cards in the deck. Infernal Tribute. Infernal Tribute is a 2-of. This is mostly for late game. It helps break through stalemates with Necrocult, and just in general, it helps break through stalemates. I used to run 3. I don't think 3 is necessary anymore. I think 2 is useful. It does win a few games. It helps with Angels a lot, actually. With Angels, you can just beat through some of their stuff, and you can use Infernal Tributes and Necrocults and just start ramping up the counters and eventually just blow through the Angels. So Infernal Tribute helps a lot there, and it's just an all-round decent removal spell. It's not fantastic. Now that Cataclysm got nerfed, it's actually more in line with Cataclysm. But yeah, Infernal Tribute is pretty decent. The last card in the deck is a 1-of. This started as a 2-of, and I drew way too many of them. Reanimate. 1 Reanimate. Why 1 Reanimate? Because it lets you get a 4th copy of Unicorn, a 3rd copy of Cult. You get the idea. It just, I don't know, it can even be a Library Guard sometimes. It's like, I don't want 2, I only want 1 per game, maybe. If I have no more of a threat in my deck, I can use the Divine Offering trick in super long games to do that. But the thing about this deck is games don't last long enough to do that normally. Because the only games that will happen is against Wisdom Dominion. They shuffle your deck anyway, so yeah. But Reanimate is in general a decent card, and it's just a toolbox card. I actually quite like my 1-ofs. They help a decent amount. Now, onto the shrine counts. For this, I'm going to go onto the actual deck building screen. 6, 9, 7. How did I decide on the shrine counts? Well, it was kind of no. Basically, you need nature. You need nature in the first 3 turns, or 2. So I'm running 9 nature. I never want double nature, but you need nature. Then corruption, you need double corruption. And also there is more corruption in the deck than wisdom in terms of first activation. So 7 corruption, 6 wisdom I think is the minimum you can get away with. But you want 7 corruption, and also the 9 nature is necessary. As I said, card counts in general in this deck are not final, but they're pretty okay. I like some of these. I'm pretty sure I like 4 wisdom. Maybe I should try 3 ancient wisdom, things like that. But the numbers are not hammered out yet. I still made changes actually before this deck tech. And if you have any suggestions for that and you want to run some ideas past me, I will happily test them and give you back what I think about them. Anyway, so keeping that in mind, we're going to play some friendly games here, because ranked queues take a little bit too long. Yeah, the new rank system has been awful, actually. Alright, so I've been playing ranked on stream a lot recently, and I started at 7. I won 75% of my games, and went down in points. That got to me, it really did. I did some climbing today from 25. Yeah, I dropped that far. I was ranked 2 last season, but I went from 25 to 12. That's as far up as I got, and that was with a really good win rate, so I feel very sorry for people that are not getting 75 win rate. in rank because it's impossible to climb right now. Like if you're at rank 1, you're pretty much never going down, which is a little bit depressing. Anyway, so this is a pretty bad hand in general. This may be worse. All right, it's actually not that bad. I'm going second. That's good. If I can get a green, I can get a library guards out in turn 2. That's good. Aha, green. I want to start green because I don't actually want to show. Well, I want to see if I can get a corruption soon. All right, good. I want to start green because I don't actually want to show what color combos I'm playing. He may think I'm not playing New Horizons now, which I'm not. But the point is that I can activate hero power, get the library guards down. He's playing Wisdom Dominion, which is a bit rough. No skill shrines in this deck. You may have noticed 22 shrines because you need them. You can't really run three colors and 21 shrines. Like, you could try. It just doesn't work. You need your shrine counts. And there's so much card draw in this deck anyway that you draw through your shrines anyway. He actually did have that New Horizons. Yeah, you don't expect to beat Wisdom Dominion consistently late game. It will not work. Is that correct? I think it actually is. Alright, so we're going to go for a third color on turn 3. Not something I do very often. Third color, turn 3, and get rid of that. And we're going to just hope that I can get something. Ooh, that's perfect. Alright, that's really good. We get Sun Chaser down on second activation. So that's turn 2, turn 4. That was a perfect top deck. That is, in fact, the best card I could have top decked, I think. Unfortunately, he can helmet. He could helm this as well, which would suck. But if he helms out, Tornado Outbreak it. Yeah, alright, so what we're going to do here. Let's Tornado Outbreak this, send it back to my hand. Bit of frame rate lag. I've been getting frame rate lag with this computer. This is a new computer, and I've been getting a bit too much frame rate lag recently. It's been very annoying. Now we're going to activate this Sun Chaser and just end turn. It keeps at 4 speed, you may notice, until his basically until a combat happens. In fact, he has to attack to get rid of the 4 speed. Okay. I could actually just get a Necrocult down. That could work. He's going to sack it. I think he's going to sack this. It's going to make sense. I'm going to try and get 1, maybe 2 games in. Depends on the length of the games, because I want to get this like 35 minutes probably of a video, since I spent 15, not 10, on the deck tech. So I'll see if I can get 2 games in. We'll see. Oh, whoa. Okay. Harpy. I think I just want to keep drawing through the deck, and I don't want to lose my 4 speed, and I also don't want him to gain an extra card with this. So we'll just pass. There's no reason to take this quickly. He's not playing a Despina, which makes this way better for me, because he can't take stuff out of my deck, and my threats are scarier than his, in fact. Lamp is the most terrifying thing he can possibly have, and as soon as I draw a Unicorn, he loses everything. So that's a thing. Oh, I see what he's doing. Alright. He's going to shield it. He just wants to get rid of the 4 speed. Makes sense. Flash Freeze. I'm okay with this. I don't actually mind that. He's down to 3 cards. It's not that bad. I get to draw through my deck a bit faster this way. Another Sun Chaser could be good here. Yeah, I actually think Sun Chaser's really good here. Like, these Sun Chasers block lamps for days. As long as I don't attack with them, he can't interact with them at 4 speed. The reason I put them at 4 speed is so that he can't put, like, well, he can't, like, play Protector, activate a lamp, and attack it. Like, he has to, like, I'm forcing him to respond to my plays as opposed to me having to respond to it. Activate both lamps. You see, I don't really care about trading this. I do care about these lamps, though. Okay, so he clears my board. That's fine. This is where things get interesting. I think I want to get a lot of library guards under here. The reason I'm not going for a So I think I pass. The reason I'm not going for a Necrocult is because if he helms the Necrocult, I'm dead. Cannot stop a helmed Necrocult. Cannot be done. Basically, if he helms the Necrocult, I'm gonna lose. I may actually send back the Necrocult. I'm holding on to it because I want to keep my threat density high, but yeah, it's difficult to beat a helmed Necrocult. I have 3 unicorns in the deck, so as soon as I draw one, he's in a bit of trouble. Ancient Wisdom, that's a good draw. I think we'll just go for a Harpy and pass. Actually, we'll go for a Vermin on the back row. The reason for this is because it forces him to do something about it, or I could get some extra mana. But the point is, it stops him from attacking with Lamp for a turn. Actually, no, it doesn't. That was a mistake. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, he's going to activate Lamp and do that. Or not. Interesting. Flash Freeze? No Flash Freeze. Peculiar. Okay. That was a bit baffling to me, in fact. Alright. Another Sun Chaser. I'll hide the Sun Chaser, play Fiend, and no, not attack. He can activate the lamp again. This is something which a lot of people forget about, is that you can keep activating this lamp. I just want to keep drawing to get a unicorn. Once I got a unicorn, I'll go for a cult, but I need the unicorn. I'm trying to put pressure on him. The thing is, he can play Cataclysm. He has massive amounts of mana at this point, and he's going to draw through most of his deck. I'm actually keeping up with him in card draw, like with Darius and Silent Slavery. Like there's a lot of card draw in this deck. Like 4 guards for Ancient Wisdom is a lot of card draw. And if you think about it, I cycled the guards like 3 times because Tornado Outbreak something out of a helm. The helm is treacherous for me, but it's not unbeatable by any means. Like, I've got lots of ways of dealing with that. I can Tornado Outbreak my own guy, I can Unicorn, like, there's tons of ways I can actually deal with a Helm. It's one of the reasons I've got 3 Unicorn. I want 5 ways of dealing with Helm, and technically 6, including Reanimate. But Reanimate, as I was saying here, only deals with it once you withdraw one. He's holding that for Lamp. Makes sense. Alright, I think he's just lost. Yeah. We'll draw here. Alright, I think that's game over. I can attack for 7. He has to shield this to keep it alive. He could Cataclysm, but it's not that bad. Now, if I recall correctly, I can't activate this because it's kind of buggy. Yeah, I don't know how this works sometimes. So, Sun Chaser, or it's either bugged or it's intended to work this way, but I may as well do a little segment on it. Basically, I can't activate it now because I've already had the combat phase for this turn. Which sounds okay, apart from the fact that I can activate it before combat, and if I skip combat, it's the next combat. So, I like the fact that you can buff it at any time, and then it's protected for the next combat. But you shouldn't have to skip your own combat phase to do it. It's not like Sun Chaser's an overpowered card or anything. So I think I might make a feedback thing about that, because it's really, really weird. Yeah, I was expecting a Cataclysm there. Again, sorry for the frame rate issues if there are any, because I don't know why there are frame rate issues, to be honest. I have no idea. Still not time to use this Necrocult. Because I've got another Unicorn, I should have... I could just... yeah, I should have reanimated the Library Guards. That was a mistake. I was thinking about Mind Extortion, and I'm like, should I reanimate Library Guards? Yeah, I should have. That was a mistake. That really was. I don't know if it'll cost me the game or anything, but it was a mistake. I should have either reanimated the Library Guards or Sun Chaser. Probably Sun Chaser. keep drawing cards. Infernal's nice. Infernal's really good, actually. Yeah, Infernal's damn good here, actually. If he doesn't play anything, I can just Tornado Outbreak the Protector, and then... He doesn't activate it. Alright. Interesting. See, no wishes. Was not expecting that one. A lot of card draw on this deck. He's already activated it, so I think what I'm going to do here... Tornado Outbreak the Djinn. None. Alright, so I do have enough mana to do this. He sacrifices these two. I can't kill everything. That's really... Oh, no, he made a mistake. He should have sacrificed this instead. Now I can kill everything. That was a mistake on his part, but I shouldn't have been able to kill everything. I still think it was the correct play, but I shouldn't have been able to kill everything there. That was a mistake on his part. He should have sacrificed, like, the Protector and the Library Guards, not both libraries. That was a power turn, but yeah, it's... Helm. I was expecting that. I wouldn't be surprised if he removes the counter immediately, since he knows I've got Unicorn. This is a long game, by the way. This is a long game. I mean, it allows me to showcase some of the trickery of the deck and some of the misplays, since I'm not familiar with this deck, so I mean, like, the one Reanimate, I misplayed it and things like that. I'm not familiar with a lot of the intricacies of this deck yet. Which you could refer to as an issue. Alright, let's get that back. Let's see if I can kill this off and get some extra tokens on this. Draw, he could flash freeze, he could have a lot of things actually. I don't have another way of killing Helm. That's a problem, because I lost my Reanimate earlier. So I can't get another one. It's fine though, I get an extra token here. I'm expecting a Cataclysm, so what I'm going to do is put a Bedeviled Fiend under it and pass it. I need to draw some Ancient Wisdoms. I think I've only drawn one this game, haven't I? Yep, only one Ancient Wisdom, 3 Library Guards. That makes up for it, though. Yeah, that's a Cataclysm. Expected. But, yeah, frame rate issues are annoying. I need to look into that because I've been having a lot of frame rate issues recently with Spellweaver. I did switch computers, so I think it's the computer and not the game, but we'll see. And before anyone asks, no, the computer is good enough to run Spellweaver. It's just Spellweaver that has the issues. Alright, so there goes his assassin. I think I'm slowly losing this game. This is like attrition. I need my 3rd unicorn, otherwise I'm going to lose. I can, in theory, interact with the lamp. I can raise the lamp, but... I need a Sun Chaser. Oh boy, that's bad. That is really bad. He's got enough mana to steal, but I've just lost. He has enough mana to steal both, which means I'm dead. In fact, he should steal both. That's a mistake. He could steal both and then I'd just immediately lose. I think I'm still dead anyway. I need Tornado Outbreak or... Does that? No. That does not do it. Actually, he can't steal this as long as it's not exhausted. This is where things get tricky. He's got infinite mana at this point, so I'm not gonna hold back stuff and let him, like, yeah, he can exhaust it. But the point is, he basically has infinite mana at this point. Oh, he exhausted this, but yeah, he's got so much mana it does not matter. So, in fact, I need to rack up. I need Noxious Fumes because otherwise he can actually steal my stuff as it's attacking, so I can never attack with the cold. I mean, I can't attack with anything anyway at this point. Yeah, he's gonna take control of my Harpy, and then take control of the Unicorn, and I have to draw something to get out of this. What could I draw? I could draw... I think I've already gone through 2 Infernals. I could draw a... Noxious Fumes? I've got 2 Fumes, 2 Vermin. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm drawing into. And technically, I mean, Ancient Wisdoms would be amazing at this point. He's going to draw himself to death, and I think I have more threats than he does left. Depends if he's running like a bunch of cards that he hasn't shown yet. I still have 1 Library Guards, 4 threats here, and a Sun Chaser. Those are my threats. That's enough to win the game. I mean, if he doesn't have any hard removal with this cult's enough to win the game if he doesn't have any hard removal. He'll lose to the cult. He's just going to steal everything. That's 12 mana, but he has 12 mana at this point. I need to draw... I've got like 7 outs. Yeah, I've got 7 outs. Hey! Come on. That's really bad. Move forward so he can't attack. Do I kill this? Yeah. No, I can't move it forward though. He could have Flash Freeze, and I can't risk losing to Flash Freeze. This is actually probably the longest game I have played with this deck. Like, this is a really bad matchup, normally. In fact, yeah, it just is. This is a really awful matchup. So I'm amazed I've survived this long, to be honest. Although, I think if I played that Reanimate properly earlier, I probably would be winning right now. Actually, no, he Cataclysmed. I would have had an extra card in hand. I don't know. It's difficult to say with misplays like that, because they're so far, they're like far in the past. But it takes, I mean, Spellweaver's a game about small mistakes. Small things is what dictates who wins or loses, not the big stuff. Is that enough? It is. Alright. That wipes his entire board. That was an amazing draw. Alright, I just blew through his entire board. If he has another Drayla, I'm in trouble. Helm? I can't risk playing around Helm at this point. I've got to keep generating tokens, otherwise I'm going to lose. He's got 14 cards left. Well, he's actually technically got 13, but yeah. Oh! That's right, he's got New Horizons and useless cards like that. How many shrines have I drawn at this point? I've played every shrine I've drawn. So, 16, 20. I only have 2 shrines left. I've got 11 cards and 2 shrines. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. Do I try and make the most out of this? Nope, he could have Drayla. And if he has Drayla, I lose. Alright. So he has to sacrifice this. No, never mind. No, this still works. Yeah, I can't do anything here. But the point is, I can kill it on my turn. He's down to 10 cards. I think that's his final assassinate. A lot of Wisdom Dominion decks play 4. I personally play 3 in my builds, but a lot of them play 4. What could he have? There's no buff he could have, as far as I know. Nothing at instant speed. Yeah, thought so. Yeah, he's running out of actual ways of winning. I think I won this game. This was a massive attrition game. I want to say if he was playing Advanced Railer, he would have stomped me because he would have used all my threats and I would have died. So, yeah, there you go. That was an insanely long game. Basically, this deck is bad against Despina. It's not good against Dominion in general, as you saw there, but it's really bad against Despina, and if he was playing Advanced Despina, I would have lost. But yeah, as we saw in that game, one, I'm not playing the deck perfectly by any means because it's a very difficult deck to pilot. I made a couple mistakes with Reanimate, with the hero power, things like that. I do like the 3 unicorns. I think they're very good. I cut Infected Survivors from this deck because I don't think they're very useful. As far as matchups goes, it's very good against Order because you have Harpy. It's good against Rage in general because you've got the 8 removal corruption things and Harpy and just big threats so they can't deal with them. It's especially good against mid-rangey variants because the hero power doesn't kill anything. Everything has 4 HP or more after it's gone through Keanu's hero power. Dominion decks in general are tricky just as a general thing. That's pretty much everything. Like, Wisdom-based decks are not too bad. Dominion's kind of miserable. Order's fine. Nature is fine. You have to kind of, like, if you have Harpies, you're fine against Neva decks. If you don't have Harpies, you're dead against Neva decks. This is actually what I was talking about earlier when I said Harpies like the best threat in the deck. It really is. Like, it kills pretty much everything. As we saw in that last game, even against Wisdom Dominion it kills things. It kills the Assassins, which is just very useful. Because Assassin is like the bane of my existence as far as this deck goes. I play 1 threat every 2 turns, basically. 1 big threat. And Assassin deals with one of them for 2 mana. So, so yeah, Harpy is kind of necessary in that point. Something else saw is that Necrocult, very clunky, however it gets the job done in the late game. It's a super powerful late game card. So, yeah, that's my current version of, I guess, what would I call this? Like, Corruption Keanu? Like, Keanu in general is like Sun Chaser, Library Guards, Ancient Wisdom, things like that. So, probably Corruption Keanu. But anyway, this is a prototype deck, so I'll probably make a deck tech in a couple of weeks about this. After probably, I don't know, probably after the next balance patch, after the next rank season, when I come back to it, I'll showcase this deck again with a couple of changes. Speaking of changes, I've got a Tempo Wisdom deck that I'll do eventually after the next patch, probably. Basically, when Tempo Wisdom becomes like good enough to actually play on a reasonably competitive level, I'll do a deck tech on it, because it's a cheap deck to make, so I feel like I kind of should. And mid-range Rage as well, after the patch, if it's still... Like, I don't know if it's going to be changed or not, but the point is, if it is, then I'll have a look at it and maybe do a deck tech on that. Things like that. I've got a couple deck techs coming up. This is just the one I can let's cover first. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback, put it in the comment section below. As for now, this has been Jotto, signing off.